Here's one more conflict President Donald Trump can intervene in for a Nobel Peace Prize in 2026. Now, tensions are spiraling between Saudi Arabia and the UAE after Saudi Arabian fighter jets attacked an arms consignment from the UAE that was being offloaded in Yemen. Now, this is an irony. The two countries, Saudi and the UAE, were once the closest of allies. Saudi Arabia has issued a 24-hour ultimatum to immediately pull out UAE troops from Yemen, halt its financial and military backing of Yemeni factions, or face consequences. On the 30th of December, Saudi Arabian fighter jets attacked an arms shipment at the port of Al-Mukalla in southern Yemen. This arms shipment had in fact been offloaded from a UAE vessel. It consisted of arms, ammunition and armored vehicles at the port. It was detected, tracked and attacked by Saudi Arabian fighter jets. And a Saudi Arabian statement after the attack expressed disappointment in the UAE's conduct in arming the Southern Transitional Council here in Yemen. They delivered a 24-hour ultimatum for the UAE to withdraw its forces and its arms from Yemen. And the Saudi statement was unusually strongly worded. It stressed Saudi Arabia's red lines that it would take all measures to confront and neutralize any threat to its national security. Now, this is no longer a proxy war. It's edging towards a full-scale confrontation. UAE ruler Mohammed bin Zayed was a mentor to Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman after Salman's father became Saudi king in 2015. The two countries formed a shared partnership. They intervened together in Yemen in 2015. They imposed a 4-year blockade of Qatar and they faced Iran jointly. But how did things come to such a pass, and why are Saudi Arabia and the UAE now on opposite sides? To understand this, you need to look at Yemen and its bloody history over the past decade. Now, Yemen was a single country, a united country until 2014. And then the Houthis, the Shias from the northern mountains of Yemen, surged out and captured most parts of the country, including the capital Sana'a. Now, the Houthis were supported by the Iranians, including deadly Al-Quds force commander Major General Qasem Soleimani. Now, Soleimani, of course, was assassinated by the United States 5 years ago. Saudi Arabia and the UAE intervened together in 2015 to restore Yemen's internationally recognized government. However, their priorities quickly diverged. Saudi Arabia focused on countering Iranian influence, securing its long southern border with Yemen, and they insisted, in fact, maintaining a united Yemen. The Saudi Arabian government supports the united government, the Presidential Leadership Council here in grey. That's the recognized government of Yemen. And it has allies like the Islah Party, that's a Sunni Islamist group with ties to the Muslim Brotherhood. The UAE, on the other hand, prioritized its anti-Islamist goals. They view groups like Islah as threats to the UAE and the region because of their associations with the Brotherhood. So the UAE now supports the Southern Transitional. Now the UAE supports the Southern Transitional Council, the STC, which is a separatist group that seeks to revive independent South Yemen. Of course, South Yemen was an independent country before it merged with the North in the year 2000. Now, this split between the UAE and Saudi Arabia became evident very early on. In 2020, the UAE withdrew most of its troops, but continued to support the STC. Withdrew most of its troops from the coalition with the Saudi Arabians, that is. But Saudi Arabia pursued de-escalation and negotiations with the Houthis, who now control the northern part of Yemen, erstwhile North Yemen. And now tensions have boiled over in December 2025 when the STC, that's here in southern Yemen, launched a rapid offensive, seizing vast areas in southern and eastern territories of Yemen, including the oil-rich Hadramawt region here. The Hadramawt controls nearly 80% of Yemen's proven oil resources. It borders Saudi Arabia and Oman. Al-Mahra is another area that they captured, and they got ports like Al Mukalla right here, which is where the Saudi jets attacked on the 30th of December. The STC now, as you can see, effectively controls what is now the entire former southern Yemen. It displaced Saudi-backed government forces and tribes with minimal resistance. It's raised South Yemen flags and is rallying for independence. Now, this is something that is a red line for Saudi Arabia. It's viewed it as a direct threat to its national security, as outlined in its statement on the 30th of December. Now, Hadramaut, of course, shares a 425-mile border. It has cultural and tribal ties to Saudi Arabia. And that is the reason that Riyadh has now demanded that the STC withdraw, calling it an unjustified escalation. Saudi Arabia has even cancelled defense pacts with the UAE. So now, as you can see, Yemen is divided into different zones of influence. The Saudis and the Emiratis control various factions, and Iran, of course, is one of the biggest supporters of the Houthis right here in northern Yemen. And very interestingly, the strategic island of Socotra right here in the Red Sea, it's an island that's the size of the Indian state of Goa, is about 300 kilometers from the Arabian Peninsula, is also controlled by the UAE, which has a military presence on the island. Now, the airstrike by the Saudis indicate that enough is enough, and Riyadh is no longer reluctant to directly target UAE interests, moving beyond just proxy conflicts and stepping up into open military confrontation. Now, this development is unlikely to remain confined to Yemen alone. What is unfolding here in Yemen reflects a broader Saudi Emirati power struggle that's increasingly regional in scope. There are two other areas where the proxy war between Riyadh and Abu Dhabi could shift to. That is Sudan and, of course, Libya. Both the ruler and the crown prince support various different factions in both the Sudanese civil war and in the Libyan civil war. And those are developments that could have far-reaching and unpredictable consequences for the Arabian Peninsula.